Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the Big Gamer Man channel. In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to implement a basic raycast shooting system into Unity very quickly. Okay, so as you can see I have a little scene set up here. I have a gun placeholder model that I have attached to an empty game object called weapon holder on the player game object. This is just a free asset you can get from the asset store. I've placed it on a terrain plane. Now, what you want to do is you want to go to the gun model that you have put under the weapon holder, which is under the camera. You want to create a new script, call it pistol or rifle or whatever your weapon represents. We want to open the script right up, and then we want to create a new public float, a new public variable, which we can change. We're going to call it damage. Create a new public float, and we're going to call it range. So this will be the range of which we can shoot, and this will be the damage that the ray inflicts if it hits an object that can take damage. Okay, we're going to create a new public camera variable. We're going to call it FPS cam. Now in the update function, we're going to create a new if statement. If input.get button down fire1, which is a input in Unity that is defaulted to left click and left control. Then I'm going to create two curly brackets at the end of that. We're going to come in here and we're going to create a new function called shoot. And to do that, we're going to go out of the update function. We're going to create a new void, new function called shoot. And then now, when fire1 is pressed, we can now call the shoot function. So create two curly brackets to close it off. And then we want to create a new if statement, physics.raycast. Actually, I'm going to create a new variable, raycast hit, call it hit. And then going to create a new pair of brackets in this if statement. We're going to pass the transform of the position and the rotation of the FPS camera. Oh no. Dot position, and I'm going to create I'm going to pass the rotation. So transform dot rotation, and then we want to do out. Range hit. Create two curly brackets to close that off. Might have to do that instead. My bad, what we actually want to do is we want to come here and we want to do pass the range. And then we're going to do transform.forward. So we're shooting out the front of the FPS cam's position, and then it's passing the range variable. Okay, so once we're in here, we want to check if. Actually, we want to do hit.transform.name. Name is equal to, actually no, we're going to put this in a debug.log statement, and we're going to create debug.log hit.transform.name. Now, whenever we shoot with mouse 1, it will shoot out an invisible raycast, which we will be able to hit an object with, and then the object that it hits, it will get the name of the transform, and then it will display it in the debug. So we're going to try this out now. Coming right back over to the project here, we're going to set these to a couple of values. I'm going to set the damage to 10. This is an unused variable right now, and I'm going to set the range to 100. Why not? Then we want to change. Then we want to assign the first-person camera to the FPS cam variable, and then we want to click on play. Now, once we're in game, we can see that we can move around because I've been using a first-person controller script. And then when we click mouse 1, we go to the console. We can see that it is being updated with the name of our terrain. So what we are actually going to do now is create a new game object. I'm going to create a new 3D cube. I'm going to name it target. I'm going to reset the transform. Move it over here. I'm going to give it a rigid body, and I'm going to create a new script for it. I'm going to call it target. So whenever we hit our target, an object with the target script, it calls a function. Okay, so once we've created that script, we want to quickly open it up in the code editor that you use, in my case Visual Studio. And the first thing we want to do is we want to create a new public void. We're going to call it take damage. and then we're going to pass a float, call it range, and then I'm also going to pass the float of damage. Oh no, actually, hang on. Actually no, for now we're not going to pass anything. And then in the take damage, we're going to create a new variable at the top. Get rid of the void and the update and start function. Create a new variable, call it health. So public float health. Actually, no, we're going to call it an integer. We're going to make it an integer. Int health. And by default, we're going to set this to 3. And then we're going to do. Actually, no. Create the. Don't get rid of the update function or create it again. We're going to do if health. If health is equal to or less than 0, we're going to call a new function that we're going to create called die. So we're going to create a new public void die. The reason that we make them public is so that other scripts can access them. We don't necessarily need the die function to be accessed at this point, but we do need the take damage function to be accessed by the shooting script. So it detects the object that it's shooting and whether or not it has the target script, and if it does, it will call a function known as take damage, where it will take away the health. In fact, I'm actually going to do that. I'm just minus it by 1 now. Minus equals by 1. And then we're going to do in the die function, we're going to do destroy game object. Now, all that does is it enables it so when the when the target reaches 0, the health, it calls a function known as die, which destroys the game object. Now, what we want to do is we want to go back to our pistol script. We want to come here. We want to do if hit.transform dot game object is not equal to null, and with 2 and symbols we want to do and hit.transform.game object dot compare tag. Then in brackets we want to create target. So if it hits a close it off with curly brackets. If that hits a game object and the tag is of target, it will then try to access a script on the target. Do hit.transform dot game object dot get component. Do target dot take damage, and we're going to pass the damage variable and the float variable. Oh no, not the float, the range variable. My apologies. Then we want to save that, go back to the target script, and then we want to pass float damage, and then float range. Okay. Oh no, hang on, my bad. Float. Oh no. Yep, save that. Then what we want to do is we want to go back to Unity. My bad, just before you go back to the engine, you want to change the float of damage to int, because you can't take away a float value using an int. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. I'm going to click save by doing Control S. I'm also going to save this, so Control S. Make that an int. And then, yep, save. Go back to engine. Now that we're back in engine, what we want to do is we want to go over to the cube game object, create a new tag. We want to call it target. So when the ray hits a game object of target, with the tag of target, it will try and access a script on it known as target. And if the script isn't accessible, it will cause an error, because every single object that has the type of target should contain the target script. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to go back to the game, click on play. I want to go back to the gun, change the damage value to 1, click on that, and then we want to go over to the target, come down here, and then when we hit the target, it takes away 1, and then when it reaches 0, it gets destroyed. Now that is the end of this tutorial. In the next tutorial I will teach you how to make weapon switching and different variations of weapons. You can extend this script however you would like. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.